Hi, this is Lamenter's Jail, and this video is a full moveset guide on how to defeat the Regal Ancestor Spirit, which might be mechanically the easiest boss in the entire game to beat, but I'll go into the moveset and how to beat him with melee a little bit later in the video. First, I just wanted to show you the easiest possible way to beat him without learning any of his moves or even interacting with this boss really at all. If you just wanted to skip this fight just for the remembrance, then this might be the method you'll want to use. All you would have to do is use the Assassin's Gambit Ash of War on a dagger, and then enter the fog wall and run directly right, kind of along the edge of the arena. You can sprint around the edge of the arena and the Regal Ancestor Spirit won't spot you while you're sprinting as long as Assassin's Gambit is active, but there is a single section of that run that you will have to crouch during or else he'll spot you, and you should be able to see which section that is in the video while you're watching it. I tried to make it clear. And you probably will have to reapply the Assassin's Gambit buff while you're running around the arena a couple times just so it doesn't wear off, because if it does, he will see you. But basically you just want to run around the side of the arena until you're behind the Regal Ancestor Spirit, and then you'll crouch and sneak up to be standing directly behind him. And then once you reach that spot directly behind the boss, you basically won at that point. As long as you don't move, he'll never see you, so you can just continue to cast the Poison Mist spell, and that doesn't cause any noise when you cast it, so he doesn't hear you cast it, and he will never become aggressive as long as you don't move from that spot. So you can just cast it over and over, and he'll continue to get poisoned over and over until he's dead. And when you're in that spot, he won't hear you drink any flasks either, so that's completely safe to do as long as you continue to crouch. And Assassin's Gambit will wear off pretty quickly, but that's okay. As long as you're not moving, he still won't notice you there. And that is the easiest method to defeat him, but since this is like the easiest boss in the game, there is very, very simple methods to defeat him, just still using melee if you wanted to do that instead. My recommended weapon for anyone actually engaging in this fight is to use the broadsword, or really just any longsword that has the square off Ash of War. I just use the broadsword in the video because of its immediate availability in the game. And my easy melee method does include Flame Grant Me Strength as well as Golden Vow, but you don't have to use those are kind of optional. It'll just increase your damage and make the fight a little bit faster to use them. And there is like a built-in time within the fight itself for you to be able to rebuff yourself safely, so it is a good idea to use buffs in this fight, but it is completely optional. Really the only thing you absolutely need is, I would recommend using the Knight Armor because that will allow you to survive a couple of hits if you do accidentally get hit. But really the only requirements are a shield that doesn't have any Ash of War attached to it and a sword that has the square off Ash of War attached to it. And if you could make that a fire sword, like put the fire affinity on it, that's even better because the Regal Ancestor Spirit is weak to fire, so it does a little bit extra damage. But yeah, that easy melee strategy is just to stay a medium distance away while holding up your shield and just wait for him to use one of either two moves, either the triple antler swing or the hoof stomp. When he uses either of those two moves, you're going to do the heavy version of the square off at his head. This fight is actually easier if you're unlocked because you'll be able to aim at the head easier, so just keep that in mind. And this boss does have about 120 poise if you're whacking his body, but if you hit his head, he has much less poise, around 80 it seems like. And so 2 heavy square off attacks aimed at his head is enough to stagger him for a critical hit. And every time you get a critical hit, when he's getting up from being critical hitted, you have enough time to do another heavy square off attack at his head, which brings him halfway to getting staggered again. And so if he uses either the triple antler swing or the hoof stomp again, and you manage to get your second heavy square off attack in there pretty quickly, then you can continue to stagger chain him over and over and over again and just get a ton of critical hits. And what's nice about this boss is he will attempt to heal himself after about half health, which will include doing the hoof stomp because he always does that before he heals himself. So if you get him past half health with a critical hit, then he will probably attempt to do that hoof stomp right after. And considering you got a heavy square off attack when he was standing up from the critical hit, and then you got another heavy square off attack while he did the hoof stomp right before he started healing, that is enough to stagger him again for another critical hit, and then you can get another heavy square off while he's standing up from that one, and then he probably will attempt to heal again. So what that means is you can pretty much stagger chain him to death after he gets to half health, and it's really easy. And that's also something you could do with like a hammer type weapon with charged heavy attacks. It's just a little bit harder to do it in that case. Your positioning will just need to be better. I think square off on the broadsword is just easier than doing charged heavy attacks with a hammer, just because the square off move, the heavy version of it, does make you walk forward a little bit before you do it, and so it's just easier to get your positioning correct when you're using that Ashivore instead of just charged heavy attacks. And considering the second half of his health bar is pretty much just going to be obliterated by that stagger chain, you really only have to worry about the first half of his health bar, and that is really easy to take down because both of those moves I suggested, the triple antler swing and the hoof stomp, both have a pretty easy to recognize wind up. And as long as you're just backstrafing to a medium distance and holding up your shield the whole time, there's really nothing that the Regal Ancestor Spirit can do to hurt you. This is a very, very safe way to just stay alive and just wait for those two moves to happen so that you can punish them and enter your stagger chain. So yeah, that's the easiest way to beat him, but I do want to go over the rest of his moves now, just in case you want to do something fancy or beat him, you know, the way that FromSoft intended. This right here is a visualization of what I mean when I say medium distance. Even if you're not doing the easy method, you still want to kind of hang out in this spot, because when you're too close to him, you're going to have to dodge in order to avoid the damage from the antler swings. If you're about a medium distance away though, you can just backstrafe a little bit to maintain that medium distance, and then you won't have to dodge. He'll just miss you. So doing that just gives you a little bit more time to alter your positioning while he's doing whatever he's doing. And if you run too far away, he does have the potential to cancel out of his antler swings, like the triple antler swing for example. If you stay medium distance, he will do that 3 times, but if you run further away, he'll cancel after just 1 or 2 antler swings sometimes. And when you are kind of far away, he will often do this flying stomp where he jumps 3 times up in the air and then tries to stomp you out with his little paws or hoofs or whatever Regal Ancestor Spirits have on their feet. It's really easy to dodge this move. All you have to do is dodge backwards when he's just about to hit you, and then if your camera's unlocked, you can turn yourself to be facing like towards his head and then do just a regular heavy attack. You're going to want to be using a weapon that swings above your head a little bit in order to make that work, like for example the club. If you are using a weapon that does heavy attacks that are kind of lower to the ground, like side sweeps for example, you will want to just attack his legs instead of his head. And something else that he can do at a sort of medium distance away is the antler charge, where he lowers his head and then tries to cover a little bit of distance and charge at you. And you can just dodge this the same way, just dodge backwards and do a heavy attack at his head, or you can dodge forward and do a heavy attack at his legs. And something else you'll see at sort of a medium distance is this lunging antler swing. He will do this in order to get closer to you if he's not close enough to do the triple antler swing. And usually with the lunging one, there's only 2 antler swings, so you would just dodge them both and then do a heavy attack afterwards. And you will only want to do a heavy attack instead of a charged heavy attack, because there is a follow-up that he can do after the antler swing moves that he does, like the triple or the lunging antler swings. He can also like glow blue and then do one final antler like uppercut move, and that does a lot of damage. It's really easy to dodge though. You just have to make sure that you are anticipating it after potential antler swings. So when that does happen, you'll just dodge it and then face towards the head with your character. Easier to do that when you're unlocked, and then you can do a charged heavy attack after that. And another thing that you'll see all the time, really, it happens very commonly, is this triple antler swing where he at a medium distance is just gonna swing his head around 3 times and try to hit you with those antlers. For this one, when he does the second swing, I like to look at the ground and just see where his antlers are dragging against the ground. It is going to cause a little bit of some water or some dust or whatever is going to be disturbed on the ground, so you can see where he dragged his antler. And as long as you don't approach up to that point, you can stand there and charge up a charged heavy attack right before he does the 3rd antler swing, and that is just a very good way to get a charged heavy attack in there instead of just a regular heavy attack, because you will otherwise want to be careful. He can do the glowing antler like follow-up attack after this attack as well. So you will have to start that charged heavy attack, if that's what you want to do, a little bit before he actually completes the triple antler swing, like the 3rd swing in that combo. Just so that in case he does do that follow-up, you have enough time to dodge it, and then after you do dodge that, you can do another charged heavy attack, so that's a really good thing to punish. He can also potentially do the stomp after he does the antler swing, and when he does that, if you're standing at a medium distance already, then it's just not going to hit you, and you can just wait until he slams down on the ground, and when he does, do a charged heavy attack or a like square off attack, the heavy version, if you're using the broadsword. And that is definitely something that is really easy to punish, and I would recommend attempting to punish that every single time. And that hoof stomp that comes after the antler swing sometimes can also just come straight out of neutral, like if he's just idling, he can use the hoof stomp without doing anything else first. And if he does, it's the same situation. You just want to stand back a little bit, wait for him to hit the ground, and then you can run up and do a charged heavy attack or something like that. Definitely something that you'll want to memorize. If you're only going to memorize a few attacks, again, the triple antler swing and the hoof stomp are the two that you should keep in mind, because those are really easy to punish with charged heavy attacks. And if you ever find yourself behind him for any reason, he can do this kick. He'll lift up his front legs first before he kicks you with his back legs, so that's the tell and the way that you know that you're going to have to dodge the kick in a second. But in general, you should be staying kind of in front of his face, so you might not see this kick very often. He also has two versions of just like throwing up some magic onto the ground. One is the walking version and one is the flying version of doing that. For the walking version, you can back up as he walks and pukes magic onto the ground and then do like a jumping attack as soon as he's finished, just to hit his head. But you can also, just when he starts, wait a second and then do a charged heavy attack so that you can hit his legs, and then usually you can get a light attack in after the charged heavy attack if you're attacking his legs. But at that point, you're going to have to make a little bit of distance before you can continue to fight him or wait for him to come back to you, because that magic is then going to be in between you and him. And you can't step on it in order to chase him and re-enter the fight right away because it'll hurt you. And for that flying magic puddle attack, where he jumps up in the air and kind of runs through the air while he's puking magic at the ground, for that one, you just have to back up. There's no way to punish him, really. Even using ranged attacks, like he's running sideways, so your ranged attacks will miss. So just back up, wait for him to land, don't step in the magic puddles, and wait for him to come back to you and re-engage. This would be a good time to like use a magic potion or rebuff yourself with Golden Vow or do something like that, just so you're not like standing around waiting for something to happen and just wasting time. And after he gets below half health, I mentioned in the easy method that he can heal himself. He will always do the hoof stomp before he attempts to heal himself, and after the hoof stomp he will like absorb all the life energy from all the little spirit creatures that are around him, and that heals him up. And you can't stand next to him while he does this, because if you are standing next to him or under him or something, you're going to get hit by this. It does have a hurt box. So the only thing you can do if you want to try to punish it is to use ranged attacks like kukris or something like that. Also, every consecutive time that he uses this attack, it'll heal him less each time. So the first time is like half his health bar, the second time is maybe a quarter, the third time is like 15% or so, and I think from that point forward it'll be 15% every time. And in the easy method you did see him teleport away, and he does that sometimes. It kind of changes the moves that he can use when he does it as well. If he teleports, he's gonna respawn into the body of one of the spirit creatures that are around the arena. He can spawn into a boar or a hare or a goat, I think, and depending on which one he spawns into and teleports back into the arena from, he will unlock a different move that he can use depending on which animal that he respawns into. I just call him the special roll, like special as in like special attack. The roll, if he respawns into a goat, he's going to unlock that attack. If he respawns into a hare, he's going to unlock the special hop. And if he respawns into a boar, then he's going to unlock the special charge. And for the roll, all you have to do is dodge forward and to either side of him in order to dodge those rolls. There's not a great way to punish it until he finishes rolling. You do have a little bit of time if he finishes when he's near you to go up and just do like a jumping attack or something, but then you'll just want to get back in front of his face. And for the special hop, he'll usually just hop 3 times, so if you roll under him and try to get behind him with your roll on the 3rd hop when he's landing, then you can usually just do a charged heavy attack while he's like recovering from this move, so that's a pretty good thing to punish. And then for the charge, you can also wait for him to get all the way up to you and then dodge along with him so that you end up next to him as he finishes his charge, and then you can do a charged heavy attack after that as well. And I guess the last thing to think about is what to do around critical hits. If you're not using a weapon with the square off Ash of War, then I would recommend using a weapon that has Flaming Strike as its Ash of War. And you can actually get a full Flaming Strike in to rebuff your weapon and just do a whole bunch of extra damage in between the time it takes for you to cause the stagger and take the critical hit. So if you cause the stagger by like whacking his face with your weapon and you're already right in front of him, you might as well whack him one more time with another charged heavy attack, or just do a Flaming Strike at his face before you take the critical hit just to get a little bit of extra damage in there. And if you're thinking about the regular Ancestor Spirit, the one that you can find in the Siofra River instead of this Regal one, that boss is basically the same as this one, except it can't do any of the special attacks, and it can't do the healing attack, and it also can't teleport around the arena, so you just won't have to deal with the most annoying moves that this guy has if you're not doing the Regal version of the fight. But yeah, that's it for the moveset guide. The rest of the video is just me fighting him at rune level 1, weapon level 0. I just think it's easier to understand what I'm talking about in the moveset guide when you're seeing it all happen kind of in real time, so that's why that's there. And if you like this video and you want to see more rune level 1, weapon level 0 stuff in the future, feel free to subscribe to this channel. Thanks.